Hello everyone, Surat here, and as you see on the screen, and in the title card, other places, I am going to be playing Metal Gear for you guys. Metal Gear, a game with a little bit of a history. And before we actually start, we should probably talk about how this game is probably a thing that shouldn't have come to pass. But if we don't get it, we probably get a completely different Metal Gear Solid on the PlayStation, almost, a decade plus later. So, there are two reasons for this. First, if you look at the title screen when it pops up, like right here, you'll notice at the very top of the screen, that says Ultra Games. And as we all, well, most of us know by now, Metal Gear is a Konami franchise, right? Yeah. Well, back in their 80s, Konami wanted to get around a rule Nintendo put in place where any one third-party developer could only release 5 games for the Nintendo per year. And no, this wasn't limited to this wasn't on the Famicom, just on the NES. This was the Nintendo of America rule. But if you think about it for a second, if you take into consideration that 4-5 years prior, there's kind of a glut of shovelware for the Atari 2600, the ColecoVision, and television, and all that, blah blah blah. And that glut of really bad quality games combined with, well, let's face it, E.T., the disaster that E.T. was, it nearly killed off any hope for the home console market being in the U.S. at all. So Nintendo looked at that and said, okay, we're going to limit third-party developers to 5 per year so we can avoid getting a ton of just crap flooding our system. If only they had that same principle with the Wii, but that's a different rant. And probably the Switch at this point too. But anyway. But over in Japan, Konami had a flood of games they wanted to get over to the US. And if they only did 5 a year, they weren't going to get out even half the games they had by the time the NES died and the Super Nintendo came along. So what they did, they did a little loophole. They created basically a daughter company, a spin-off, if you will, called Ultra Games, and started to use Ultra Games to publish another 5 games a year for the NES. So, Konami got around the loophole right there. Excuse me. The second reason this game probably shouldn't have happened, okay, this is not the original version of Metal Gear. Not at all. The original version of Metal Gear was developed for the MSX system, which, if you don't know, and I wouldn't be surprised if you don't know what the MSX is, it was kind of a home computer more than it was a video game system. Kind of similar to the Commodore 64 and such, but it was mostly popular in Japan. It had a little bit of a worldwide audience, but not a ton. But there was almost no penetration for the MSX in the US. However, at the time, the NES was the system to have games on in the US. So Konami decided they wanted to port this game, among many others, to the NES to reach the North American market. But one thing, they didn't actually involve Hideo Kojima at all, or any of his team whatsoever, or any of the team that actually made the MSX version of Metal Gear in the process. Just in case you thought the last few years of what Konami did to Hideo Kojima were an aberration, now, Konami has never treated Hideo Kojima very well, period. Yeah, it's a bad time all around for that little cooperation. So what they did, they first, after they removed him and his team and had basically just a completely separate team, take this game and said, hey, you guys, we need you to port it, but we've got some problems. They didn't have a hold of the little advanced mapper chips that other companies and even other sectors in Konami had for ports for the NES. And then they said, okay, have it done in 3 months. So we had some limitations in place. So to deal with those limitations, a few significant changes got made. And I'm not going to go over all of them. I'm not even going to go over 10% of them, because you can look online and find the list of changes that exist between the NES and MSX version. So, I will mention, though, that if you're going to talk changes, one of the big changes, the MSX could save your progress. The NES, well, cartridges at the time, this was released in 1988 after all, at the time didn't really have much of a capability to do battery backups and such. I mean, it wasn't unheard of, but it was really much more expensive than anybody wanted. At least until late in the NES and early into the Super Nintendo development cycles. So the NES game has passwords. And if you are familiar with the NES passwords, you're familiar with how much of a pain that freaking was. So, because I don't want to spend, another 10 or 15 minutes alone just going over the full list of changes, it is going to be a spoiler. But it's a spoiler I probably couldn't hold on for too long, because I would probably accidentally blurt it out anyway. So this is a Metal Gear game. You would think, okay, you know Metal Gear, you know that it involves big tanks and nuclear weapons, etc., 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 right? Okay, so let's talk about a second change that happened with the NES version. So in the MSX version, the main goal is to find, to locate and then fight and destroy the Metal Gear tank, and that's your final boss battle. Or second to final. I haven't played the MSX version. I could be misremembering something there. In the NES, the Metal Gear doesn't show up, like at all. You get a second, you get an alternate. And that, if you don't know, I'm not going to say what it is yet, because it's one of those things, we'll get there when we get there. And if you aren't massively let down by what they replaced it with, I will be kind of surprised. But if you do know what they did to replace the Metal Gear, please don't spoil it for anyone. I ask that you don't spoil this largely because I want everybody going in and not knowing to experience the level of disappointment for themselves. And also, there is a glitch that exists in this that makes that fight an even bigger disappointment. And it's one I think just about everybody who played this game found like right away as soon as they ran into the boss. But once again, if you don't know what's there, you're not going to know about the glitch, and I want the glitch to be a surprise too. But anyway, yeah. With all that out of the way, I think we might as well go in and as soon as I get that window out of my way. Why is that window in my way? Thank you. I don't need that one. I need that one. Thank you. But I think we will go ahead and jump into the game. Now, we're not going to make it too far on this first playthrough. As a matter of fact, I'm probably going to die very horribly because this game is, not the greatest for controls. But we'll see. Since we're here, the MSX version actually had a beginning similar to Metal Gear Solid, where he was swimming through a canal, basically. So this is us. This is Solid Snake. A button does absolutely nothing right now. B button, we can punch things. We can punch the jungle. No snakes, though. Probably good, because I don't think Solid Snake would survive against regular snakes. But anyway, we have a call. We hit the select button that brings up our menu where we can select our weapons. We have no weapons. We can select our equipment. The only thing we have right now is cigarettes. Cigarettes serve one purpose in the game. You can smoke them, but they're not going to do much for you for a very long time. They're the first piece of equipment you get, and probably the last one you could possibly use. Why is that? If I remember to do it, we will see it, if I even have to worry about it. But since we get a call, we also have transceiver. That's what that jumble letter stands for. So we get a message on our transceiver, Operation Intrude in 313 from Big Boss. Our job, infiltrate the enemy fortress, Outer Heaven, then destroy their final weapon, Metal Gear. Now, you remember I said Metal Gear is not in this game? Yeah. So, we need to attempt to contact missing our Gray Fox. That's another guy. He's somewhere in this big compound. We don't know where, of course not. If we did, that would be an awfully weird game. Then try to find the Metal Gear, which isn't in this game. And use frequency 120.85 for all communications with me, over. If we're on this screen, we can try to send out a message and get no response. You rarely get responses in this game. There are only very select points. But you can adjust the frequency of the dial from 120.0 to 120.99. And at various points, you will be required to advance. We will have to radio people. We will also get quite a few calls from people. We're going to get a call that serves absolutely no purpose right now because we haven't triggered the knowledge flag, but the game's still going to tell us we get a call. So anyway, we are a 1-star. I don't know what rank this guy actually is. Operative, I guess. And we have a very tiny life bar. As we do things in the game, noticeably, we will find hostages and free them. We free enough of them and increase our rank, which increases pretty much every quote-unquote stat we've got. It increases our hit points, it increases how much ammo we can carry for all of our weapons, all that good stuff. And there's almost no one friendly around here, but this poor guy is getting sleepy. Also, he also feels asleep. He didn't fall asleep, he feel asleep. And he's gonna stand there and just stare straight down this entire time. Eventually, he will get sleepy again. At which point, we walk over. We hit them 3 times, and we get rid of him. Now, you may think this hurts you because, well, Metal Gear is known for, at least in current times, Metal Gear is kind of known for having you need to stealth around and sneak and all that. Not so much here. It doesn't matter if it doesn't really count up times you get spotted or anything like that, at least as far as I know. Oh look, dogs. These dogs are fairly annoying to deal with. They're asleep now. But the trick is, I've never learned exactly what it is that manages to trigger them into awake status. And I've never looked it up either, because why would I? Because I haven't thought about this game in a very long time until I thought, hey, let's play it. We can come down here. We can punch the Jeep and make all the noise we want. But you notice how we got an alert here? That's an alert. As long as we get off the screen, we clear the alert. My theory is that the dogs are pretty much just a horizontal sight, have horizontal sight cones that go out a little way. So if you can get above them or below them and punch them out, they won't alert. But I have nothing to back this up with. And I'm pretty sure the game contradicts this at a few points too. So now we have this guy, he's gonna walk back and forth. Notice he looks down, and he's getting sleepy too. So we can punch him out. Now, there is a pair of binoculars in this truck. We can pop into this truck and get the binoculars. In fact, I'm going to. But as soon as we come out, that guard will be right back in our face. They respawn immediately. Which means that as soon as we exit the truck, he's going to hurt us. Pretty badly. Now, the binoculars are not great items. Not in the least. But we will come back and get those soon. Not right now, but soon we will get those. And yeah, this little dense part of foliage here will protect you from being seen. Let's see if this guy feels sleepy. Ah, he hit me. I can't believe how hard it is to punch a dog in this game. Now, this is an annoying screen. Your best bet is to go after the guy on the left, because the guy on top doesn't have a lot of room to maneuver on top of him. And don't even bother with the guy on the right, like, at all. Let's go over here. I think my joypad decided to unplug there for a second. So give me just 1 second. Okay, there we go. Had to refigure a few things there. Now, our goal here, we want to get into both trucks eventually. But the first thing we want to do is we want to get into the truck that's over there that's furthest down, the one over to the right a little bit. And we've got two dudes sitting right here in our way, and they're going to notice us very soon. There's only one thing we really can do here. And that was the... Aha! Get out of there. So I'm almost dead, right? This may not change. I may die horribly. And if I die horribly, don't be surprised. We're gonna go into this truck over here. We're gonna leave. And we just got a call Now remember what I said about the calls being sometimes not completely useful, like at all? Right now, we can't take this call. We do not have the appropriate, we don't have the appropriate frequency and the knowledge flags to take this call. Like, at all. We're not even close. Come on, let me out. So we can't do anything here. Give me just 1 second. I know, I kind of remember a thing here. Problem is, I don't remember. I think I know where this is. Hang on. Here's the ammo. So which one was it? Yeah, we want to go to the one right above this. That's right. So we go right up here. We're still going to get told we get a call. This one's going to dump us out in the middle of nowhere. Dumps out in the middle of nowhere, and if we go back inside, it doesn't take us anywhere, but we get the thing we need most in the world. We've located rations. Rations are how you replenish hit points. And right now we can carry 3 of them. But you may wonder, hey, you just used it. It comes back. Also, the ammunition we picked up, pretty much useless. Incredibly goddamn useless, really. And after we pick up a few more ranks, we can come back. There are other rations around here, but they lead to places with guards pointing guns in your face. So I thought I would avoid that if at all possible. I'm going to grab the maximum amount of rations I can get. We're going to walk down here. We're going to go in here. We're actually going to get a weapon. Plastique. I know I didn't let it go by. So now, explosive. We have plastic explosives. It looks like we're carrying a gun. We're not. And that's what plastic explosives does. You can stick it on the ground, or you can put it on something, and it explodes. Plastic explosive is not that useful right now. Not even close to really all that useful. Stick with this. Stick with punching. But now we have all 3 rations we're going to get for the moment. I'm going to end this video fairly soon because it's gone on more than long enough for a Metal Gear Solid video or a Metal Gear video. Walk in here, and what we find is a key card. Now, remember what I said about the guards being right outside? Yep. I didn't get one more thing I need to get. I don't think there's anything specially really neat in here, except this guy is going to kind of leave his post. and then hang out by the edge of the screen for a second before he leaves. But there are also rations right here. Let's go ahead and eat one. But notice he immediately comes back in and decides to go insane. But if we walk off screen, he forgets we ever existed in the first place. And then we can get back in here. And yes, you may have noticed the truck have started to move. You may have noticed that. I hope you noticed it. Yeah, there's a trooper in there. Sadly, all this ammunition I can pick up right now is completely and totally useless. We don't have a weapon for it, so it gets to actually do nothing. I could have done this on the first time we were back here, but I did not. Because I didn't think about it. I briefly forgot about the fact that in this truck down here, there is a second key card. And since we can pick it up, I'm gonna pick it up. Also, I'm gonna refill our plastic explosives while I'm here. Gonna jump in here. Walk out of here to relative safety. I say relative safety because there is no such thing as true safety in this game. Like ever. Then I'm gonna go back over here. So we can land back at building 1. We're very close to building 1. This isn't building 1. I was a building 1, wasn't I? Yeah, I was at building 1. God damn it. I was at building 1. I'll do better from here on out. I say as I walk right into the wrong truck. Just because I could. I will actually have things to say once we get into the first building. There we go. Now what I need to do, because every single one of the doors in this game is well, you need a key card to open just about every single one of them, right? there are going to be eventually 8 key cards. You heard me right, 8. And you don't get lucky enough to just go, oh, I'm just going to carry all... I'm not going to carry all of them at once. No, I have to select each one individually. Also, it means I have to drop the rations, but then again, you can't really do much with the rations outside of this menu screen anyway, except to keep a tally on them. I still have no idea who he's really talking to, because no one else shows up. At least, in all the times I've played this, I've never seen another guard show up on screen, but card 1 is what will get me into this door. And this dude is going to walk a nice little circle around the place. And he only really stops at the corners. So if you don't get hung up on anything like I just did. You can clear out this screen and be left alone to think about the row of Jeeps you are sitting in front of. But I do believe that's going to do it for a first episode. Quite a bit messier than I would have liked. But we got where we needed to go in the end, and I didn't actually die. But don't worry, I will die. This game likes to make sure that you are not going to survive the entire way through. There's absolutely nothing that this game wants more than to watch you die. Instant death, usually. Instant death traps are one of its favorite moves. You'll see what I mean when we get there. Also, there are just a couple pieces of equipment we need to get in here. But yeah, we're going to explore this building. We're going to ignore we're going to ignore an obvious progression plot to go around and get more equipment. Because we grabbed the card number 4, which allows us to do a couple of other things that we probably shouldn't be able to do right now. I mean, we can do it, but the first time you play this game, you're not going to know to grab that card. But anyway, I've rambled long enough. This video's gone on much longer than I actually wanted it to, because I did not plan to make 3 loops around the trucks. God, that was embarrassing. But anyway, we will be back, and when we do, more Solid Snakes Follies of Death, basically, is what this is going to turn into. But until then, take care, everybody.